Hi, it's Rayleigh here from Sunflower Stitcheries and Quilting, and I thought I'd start something new and you can help me. So we're going to go through my shelves bit by bit and work through some of the projects that I have. Now, if you've been following or looking on our blog, you'll have seen that we do a finish along that runs every year. Basically, this is divided up into 4 rounds, 3 months each, and yes. And then we aim to get done projects that we have, stashed away in our shelves and yeah, have them ready to be used. So one of the things I am trying to do in my studio is actually make it a little bit neater and a bit tidier. Now, there are projects stashed in my shelves and cupboards here. I've got containers underneath quilting machines. And so I thought, well, let's actually put my hands where my mouth is and get some of these done. So we're going to start small because we've got a couple of projects coming up, and so this is the first one of these. So basically I have grabbed this little basket, fabric basket, out of my bookshelf just over here, and we're going to go through what's in it, and we're going to hopefully finish off anything that's in there or deal with it, shall we say. So let's have a look what's in this basket. This is a very easy basket that I made. We have a pattern for it and it's on the website. I'll link that below. But let's have a look what's in the basket and let's see what we can get finished in not very long. Okay, let's check it out. There were a whole pile of these little offcuts from a different project, and I've had a bit of a check. This was also in there as well. So I've had a bit of a look, and they're actually not too bad. Got the little, dog ears, but I'm actually going to try and put those together. So that was really handy that was in there as well. Maybe that's why that was in there. A bit of template plastic, which I have no idea what it's for, so may actually go in the bin. There were these name tag labels, which I have finished, except for I just need to hand stitch closed the little opening or top stitch them. But seeing as I've actually put the ring on them, top stitching might be a little bit challenging unless I use a zipper foot. But I think with the bulk here, I think it's going to run off the edge, so it's actually going to be a bit of a challenge. But anyway, these name tags, so this is all the lads in our house. Well, there's one for me, and there's my husband. Oh, one in case we want to do dad. So obviously I need to do a few more of those. That is actually a pattern that we have as well. It's called the name tags pattern, and we designed these to be reusable for gift giving, mainly at Christmas time. On our reusable gift bags. So that's what they're finished up for, but I do need to, maybe I'll just do a bit of hand stitching there to finish those off. So that could be a project as well. I found a bag with some theatre glasses in them. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with those. Anyway, might give those to my children or to a school and see what they want to do. So there's all of these. Oh, I found my my watermarking pen, which I had lost. So I'm very pleased that I found that. This is a Soline one. We do have these in stock, and they are fantastic if you're using a water-soluble marker and you just want to get rid of a little bit. So it's got the nib on it, and you can so you can possibly see my hand is wet there. If I put it on the fabric, there you go, you can see that there's water on the fabric. So and then to make this wetter, because you can fill this reservoir here, you just squeeze where this soft rubber bit is, and it makes it wetter. So there you go, you can see. So that was nice to find that. I'll put that in a safe place. What else is in the basket? So obviously these are the original ones or some extra ones that I bought. I did discover, having just looked at these, that I have done this side on the side which you generally look at with the name, but it probably would have been better with that nice smooth side on this side. But anyway, they are all the same, so I guess it doesn't matter too much, and as long as you can read the name, that's okay. So I have obviously some more of those, and this was the leftover of those gold ones or bronze looking ones. I found some, are they the 28 mil blades, and this is a tiny 18 mil rotary cutter. These are some, you know, the needle things, and they've got the emery powder inside it to sharpen your pins and your needles. So I might actually put those with my embroidery stuff, because that would be so much more useful. So this one's feeling a little bit fluffy, but working really well. Much better than sitting in some random basket in my shelf. What else is in there? This was from a lady from our quilting guild, and it's a pipe cleaner inside a straw, and you can use that. So she gave that to me. Let me do this. And you can use this to help clean out your sewing machine. So maybe putting that with my sewing machine, you know, in that little compartment, would probably be better than, again, in a random basket. These are little, I think they're called lobster clips, that I had for a different project. So I might actually put them with those project supplies, and a random piece of chalk that I use for quilting, marking a quilt. Chalk is actually really good for marking a quilt. I am going to put these things back in here, because that can contain those. This I'm going to put away properly, and so I will get onto all of those projects later. Let's move those out of the way. So this project, I thought I could. I've got some that are green, so I thought I might actually join them like so. Let's keep them in line or in view, and then the same sort of concept, so that there is this diamond design happening, and then I can piece them together. Now it will be quite a small project, but I actually have some projects coming up where I want to show you some different ways of quilting things. So this could actually be a great little project to put together that I can then quilt later on, and that would be a good use for this project. So I have a number of sets of these. I sat and fiddled with them to make, some of them have the green. I think I've ended up with three sets, 3.5 sets that don't have a green square, and this would make it sort of 2x4 blocks if I put those together. So that's probably, yeah, I don't know. Not sure whether I'll use these ones or not, but if I can put this together, then that's at least not wasting it, which is probably my goal, and which is why I've kept them all this time. But it would be really nice to get that done. So this can be a project, the stitching of these together. I am going to do that in a hand sewing project, one of the stitch-in events that we have coming up. So I'm going to put that in my my work basket so that I can finish those off, and then they are done. Probably actually need to make some more of these, and that would be useful. And that's all that was in the basket. So I don't have as much in the basket. I'm going to put this back up in my shelf, and everything else is going to go away. and let's see if we can get this sewn together tonight. Right, so you may have noticed that I'm using a chain piecing technique. So I'm sort of moving on to the next block before the other block is finished, and that's I do like doing chain piecing because it saves you time and thread, and get the machine going. So let's just click it, cut it there. So this would be this was the second block that went through. See, they've got the green edge. Let's just finish piecing this that way. So I am checking. Always good to check, you know, if you sort of think, yep, do that. No, this is the way that I want it. So I am doing a quick visual before I head to the machine, because I don't like unpicking. Oop. Just helping the stitching go through. Alright, so I am doing what's called finger pressing, and I am, that one was a little bit crooked, but I'm going to live with it because it's okay. Maybe I'll unpick that one. I can quickly do that. Alright, what I was going to say is, because there is a piecing line here, I am finger pressing towards this block because I'm just, you know, making it easier rather than trying to fold that seam. We are going to unpick this one really quickly because I'm just not quite happy with that. It's just moved a little bit, and look, you know, I'm not using pins at the moment, so it's my own fault, being that they are like 1 inch blocks or 1.5 inch. You know, it's highly possible. All right, let's try that again. Just getting it lined up at the machine. I think that worked out much better. All right, this was the other block that went through. So let's see how this one has gone. Yep, that one's all right. So again, finger pressing that way, and this is the other half, and I'm okay with that one. Finger pressing. There is a bit of extra fabric just here, but that will all be eaten up in the seam. So because I'm finger pressing it the same way, I can nest these seams in the middle to give me a nice easy seam allowance. Alright, this was the one that I unpicked. That's much better. You can see that is meeting much better. So we'll finger press that one, and then we can join this one. Alright, there's another block, and putting these green corners, like in different places. So I will need to press these, obviously. Let's run our ender through so that we can get this last block. Well, there's 4 of them, and I have another 4 to piece really quickly. So where shall we put it? That side. Trying to be a little bit random there. So there you go. That's going to be sort of how it turns out. I guess I could possibly do them all in the same position. So there's all the greens are in this top corner. I could do that. I don't know. I'll see how I go. Alright, time to go and get those other blocks. I'm going to plug in my little iron just off to the side here. Look at that. It's very cute. I think I found that in Aldi. So it was 20 something dollars. Putting all the blocks over to the side there. Alright, let's do, getting them all mixed up. Let's do a press. There we go. That's looking much better. Now if you needed to, you could also use some starch on these to make them sit nice and flat. I think a nice hot iron is doing wonders, even if it is a tiny iron. But it is very cute. Now I was not always one that would press as I go. I can put a block together without it necessarily getting ironed or pressed, but having this little iron and this wool ironing mat beside my sewing machine has been fantastic for actually pressing as I go. So it's one of those things you think, why didn't I do this a long time ago? And I don't know why I didn't do it a long time ago. There we go. Alright, so that's those 4. What would we decide? I would probably actually trim these little dog ears off before I went any further, because they are a bit of a pain in the neck to sew over. You know what? I'm actually going to grab my little waste bucket here. This is also one of those fabric baskets, just in the small size, and I use it next to my sewing machine to catch threads and bits like this that I've cut off. So there we go. So that's what I will go ahead and do. And whoop, managed to flick it all over my sewing table then. So let's get and sew on with the rest of these. Now you're probably thinking, why on earth are you doing this? Well, I was trying to think of what else I could share with you in between other projects, and I've got a whole heap of things that I want to do that are coming up, but I haven't got them filmed yet, and I'd really like I sort of want to take you on the journey with me. And my sewing room desperately needs some tidying up, and I really do need to finish off the projects that I've got here. So even if it's this little project, and it might become a gift, it might become who knows, but if it's not finished, then nobody can use it. So that's one of the reasons. The other reason, I would just really like to get these shelves a little bit tidier, and sometimes it's quite interesting to see what other people have got in their sewing room. So you know what, you can see what's in mine, because there's a lot of stuff in my sewing room. Alright, making sure I've got it the right way. And these blocks have actually been sitting around for a while. These are the offcuts of a table runner pattern, which is on my to-do list to be finished so that I can share them with you. We do have 2 on the website already, and they are the autumn and the winter table runner. This one is from the spring table runner, which is not yet completed. The actual item is completed. I just need to get the pattern done and, you know, written up, and maybe get it to a couple of people to do a test for me, and then I can, you know, get that out to you. Let's try and pluck out your threads if you can, mainly so that you try and keep your work as neat as possible if you can. If you do it as you go, it's not such a big job later on. Now, if you were concerned, you could always pin in the middle, like here, before you sew it together, but you don't have to. Well, I haven't. All right, so I'm going to give this a press this way and sort of set the seams, and then we'll press it open. Now, I don't necessarily do a lot of pressing to one side. Pressing of the seams open. I do press to one side. I just think I prefer that. So if we can get rid of these little dog ears. Certainly have become, makes them lumpy. Oh, I've got a bit of sticky tape on there. Let's get rid of that. Okay, I think I've got 2 more blocks to sew. Let's get on with that. Probably doesn't actually matter. I could whip through them and then put 2 halves together. Oh, have it round the right way. Get rid of the extra threads. So if you need to take this as a cue, or a suggestion to, you know, go and have a look at your works in progress, a little project that won't take too long to complete. That's my invitation to you. Maybe this weekend, or when you've got a day off. Oh, there's another block. So that you've got, you know, another thing out of your to-do list, out of your pile of, you know, things that have to be done. And just, even if you give it, you know, 15 minutes at a time, and see if you can, you know, get that project completed. Sometimes doing things in batches is good, but sometimes you just want to get them trimmed. All right, let's get this next 2 blocks done. Not doing too bad considering I'm not pinning. There are times for pinning, and there are times to be a little bit less rigid, shall we say. Not rigid, but we don't have to be as concerned. This is a finishing up project, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes you just want to get in and sew something, and that's probably what led me to do this. So I'm just going to get in here and sew it, and then, oh, that one's a bit, it's not so great, is it? We might do that one again. Just need to move it up a little bit because I can hide any shortfall in the center of the block, but having that the unevenness where the blue and the green meet are less, it's not so good. So we might just quickly do this one again. Yes, I'm pulling the thread out, which someone may tell me that that's not the right thing to do. So I'd rather have this discrepancy here, which I can hide in the center of the block, and have my colors match on this side. Okay, so to do that one, I need to run through my ender. Now, why don't some people may not know what that is? So an ender is, or a leader and an ender is a little scrap of fabric, and I'll just sew this together so I can show you it. Where, see now this fabric meets, even though there's this difference in that bit there, that's okay. A leader or an ender is a little scrap of fabric that you can use to put through your machine. So you stitch it, so you are using thread in that instance, but you stitch through it, and then you hold, start sewing your block after that. And I'll just snip it off so we can see it. And this is mine here. Yes, I did something with a whole heap of blue thread. It's a little bit of fabric, and literally you just stitch through it each time. Mine is about 1 inch wide, and every now and then I might trim off all these extra fluffy bits that are the threads, and you can use it heaps. It doesn't have to be, you just keep going through it. So put it through your machine, and it means that there's not your threads are in the ender or the leader here, and when you start sewing you don't have a loose thread that can then get bunched up underneath, which can become a bird's nest of thread underneath your block or your whatever you're sewing, which can be lumpy and unsightly. So it's a great way to avoid that happening. Now, some people do leaders and enders. They're actually like things like this. They could actually use as a leader or an ender, and you can basically sew yourself a whole nother quilt while you're making the blocks for another one. It does require you being organized and having everything cut out. So that is the thing there. But if you are one of those organized people, you could certainly do that. So there we go. We have 8 of these. I haven't trimmed all of them. Let's go. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I'm going to leave it at the 8. I'm not going to make up the blue ones, the ones that don't have the green corner. I think that's okay to throw those away. I am using these ones. I'm not wasting these blocks, and so I will dispense with the other ones. I'm sure I can sacrifice those. In light of the fact that I have actually put these ones together. Now, I'm going to say these have probably been sitting. Look at all those tiny triangles. And look, I've put them in my basket and not on the floor. Amazing. Now I have to think about how I'm going to order this. Do I want to have them with the green squares, and then I could change direction there? I could do that, or do I have them all going? Let's do it this way. We'll have four going that way. Can you hear that whimpering? I can hear the whimpering, and it's my dog who wants to come in. So I'm just going to let her in. Come on. Okay, so I'm going to have 4 leaves going that way, and then I'm going to do the 4 corners on this side going the other direction. I think I'm going to do that. All right, let's get this quickly sewn together. Let's move those ones out of the way. So we're going to do basically, I'm going to use that one because it's pressed the other way. Now your seams can get a little bit bulky. I am nesting my seams here so that they are, and again, I'm not pinning. If you are more comfortable pinning, then that's what you should do. You can hear my machine go thunk, thunk, thunk because it goes over that thick seam in the middle. I am sewing using my 1/4 inch foot. I have the machine going reasonably fast, and I have, see, there we go, yes, and I have, one's the same, can we, is there one? No, these ones will just have to go and be bulky. Maybe we could press it back the other way. So you can change your seams after you've started. Even if you've already pressed them, you can actually repress them and it will be okay. Alright, oops. Oh, look what I've done. They're actually not, I didn't do it right. How very, very annoying. Obviously I did not check. See, you know that saying, measure twice, cut once? The same concept applies when you're sewing blocks. Obviously rushed and I didn't check. So, I've ended up with them. Alright, that one works this way, so let's sew this length together. And those ones are just going to have to be a bulky seam because it's the way it is. Didn't really like the bulky seam. Alright, so this one here, I guess I'm just going to have to undo that quickly. Overall, it still hasn't taken me that long, has it? Now I know there's a way that you can use your seam ripper without doing what I'm doing and using that little red ball. I'm still not great at doing that, so I am not going to. Alright, I've double checked now, see? There. It's going the correct way. So we'll nest those seams again. Alright, this is the other half, because remember I'm sort of doing multiple piecing here where I'm not pulling out my threads all the way through. Alright, that's much better. I've got a couple of loose threads. Let's join this one to this one. Yep, that one's going to have to go that way too. Just going slowly over that bump in the middle and trimming off my leader. sewing it through again so that I can trim off the length. There we go. Alright, I am going to decide on, I'm going to hold this one a little bit so I can press that seam that way, and then to the next one, and then the next one, so they've all gone in one way on this top row. That one there doesn't join terribly neatly, does it? I am not going to worry about it at this point. So these ones, I want them to go, these ones, the seam is folded under that way, so I want these ones to go this way. So I'm just going to move this aside, and this is the one I have to repress, and move that over because I nested the seams. Let's move this along a little bit. Running out of pressing room. All right. And there we have it. So this could become maybe a little tray mat, or I don't know. If I only did 2 and changed it, I would, and I've got some weird music that started somewhere. If I only did 2 and actually did that, I could do like a little, could become like a little mug rug, couldn't it? Because what would I use this one for? You know what? I'm going to leave it as this, and I'm going to join it together. Let's see if we can get rid of this music. Alright, here we go. Let's sew this together. Gotten rid of the music, the weird music. I'm not sure what that was. I think it was something on Spotify. So, whilst it's a bit harder because you can't see what's happening in the sewing machine, you've just got my table here. I am going to advocate once again, just after many years of not having an ironing board accessible while I was sewing, I've actually really enjoyed having this wool pressing mat beside me, and it just makes things a little bit easier. Alright, we're up to that last seam, the last block. When I'm sewing, I usually have my machine set to having the needle in the down position, so that it, like every time you stop, it's in the down position. I think that's a great feature of more modern machines. I did not grow up with a machine that did that, but I do quite like. Alright, and there it is. I actually quite like that. I think I will, well, trussing up, do I? I don't think I would use the other blocks that I was going to, talking about throwing away. But I wonder, it does require a really good press, and I'm probably going to use some starch on this, about putting a border on it, just to make it a little bit bigger. I am not going to do that today, but I'll show you when it's done. But there you go. So we have the green leaves going that way on this side and this way on this side. And the block itself, you end up with this, I guess, the pink becomes a bit of a background, and you end up with a bit of a pinwheel shape in the white. So that is probably something I'm going to use to for a quilting design. So, and then you've got this blue background around it. So there you go. That is my evening sewing project. I've finished, I've cleaned out a basket, and that's now separately put away. I've got those other things that I'm going to put away into their correct places, their proper homes. And I've sewn something together. I hope you've had fun sewing with me, and you'll come back next time when I do a clear out a basket sewing project, stitch with me, something like that, and we'll see what we can be creative with. Have a great weekend coming up, and I'll see you next time.